My name's Rob, and for the next 3 months I'll be backpacking through Central and Southeast Asia, meeting old friends and making new ones along the way. And I'm filming it all so I can take you there too. Nepal was a ton of fun. We didn't get to explore much of the country, but the hiking that we did was amazing. The scenery was spectacular, and the friends that we made along the way made the trip to base camp all the more special. Now, with Annie and Ingrid, we set off for India.
First day India?
Yeah, we got to spend it with you.
Oh, thank you very much. Where's the boat? I studied my boat, just upstairs.
Wow, great.
We then headed into the chaos of town, just in time to see the recently re-elected Prime Minister Modi passing through. But after quickly getting overwhelmed, we retreated back to the river. We just got done viewing the bodies being cremated at this ghat. It's fairly intense, but really educational. It was really interesting learning about how different bodies are prepared, whether they're cremated here or at the industrial centre, or wrapped in sheets weighted with stones and just placed in the Ganges. Which is crazy to think that, 50 metres away now there are, hundreds, maybe even thousands of bodies slowly decomposing, which is quite eerie, really. Walking through the city and along the Ghats, you can see how devout the people are here. It really highlights the notion of Varanasi being a city that lives for death. I'm filming you and your bags, which you can't fully see because you've covered up. It's half your bunk.
It's good.
So it's about 6 p.m. now. We just got on the sleeper train, headed for Agra Fort. It goes all the way to Jodhpur, which is ages. It takes over 24 hours. So we should be there about 6 in the morning. All of us got upper bunks. It's not super spacious, but I think we will cope. That's pretty good actually. Pretty limited space. I feel like 6 foot or over, it's going to be progressively more uncomfortable if you have a large bag. I found that I was barely fitting in. I thought, you know, sleeper trains would be rougher, especially in this part of the world. I mean, the train is certainly swaying side to side, but I slept a good 6-7 hours last night, which was awesome. One really annoying thing though is that as much as you like pull the curtains across and like weigh them down, people will just throw them open to offer you milk tea in the middle of the night. That's pretty annoying. Even if they don't wake you up, just knowing that like someone's just watching you while you're sleeping to see if you are awake to buy something, it's pretty creepy. So we'll be hitting Agra Fort Station in about an hour. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my breakfast and I'll see you there. One of the new wonders of the world, we had to visit the Taj Mahal. Us and 7 million other people each year, so get here early. This place is beautiful. And thanks to low season, we actually managed to get quite a lot of good photos without having to stand in line. If you get here like too late after sunrise, you'll have to stand around for like half an hour to get photos. Agra Fort is a stunning piece of architecture. Its red bricks contrasting with the greenery around it make for some incredible photos. And it has way less people than the Taj Mahal. Nailed it. That looks really legit actually. Awesome.
Did you get that on video?
I did. It's just us. Gorgeous. Thanks a lot. That would be super nice of you, yeah. You might need a cup in your hand though.
Doesn't give money to vegans or anything. Give us bottled water to chipmunks.
Taj Mahal.
I think I do too.
It's so nice here.
It is really nice though.
We then headed back to the hotel to see the weirdest puppet show ever. Oh, what is he doing here? Oh. He's having a fun time.
Take the break, okay?
Yeah,
In front of you, someone in front of you.
yeah, with one.
Yes, that's all.
You're a pro?
Don't
It's the
film
last
me.
day in India. You haven't booked a tuk-tuk yet. You haven't bartered.
Now is the time.
Now's the time.
We want to go to here, the Chandri market. How much? 150. Too much. 3? 100? We only have 100 notes. Pardon me? We only have 1 note. We don't have much cash on us. 100? 130. We only have 100 notes. See? Only got this. So 100? Okay? Thank you.
Nice work.
Thank you. Proud of you.
You did well.
So we get to the right place.
So it finally happened.
There's our fan crew over there.
10 people just approached us looking for
And
photos.
suddenly there's a crowd of people. I think there's probably about 10 people.
Oh, there's a lot of
Children,
people.
Women, men.
We literally
You
just
name it.
walked up to the Red Fort and then walked away after taking a photo. It's too busy. Too many people asking. Unfortunately, Annie had to head home. So it's just Ingrid and I from here on out. That's super cute, man. meditation and yoga, so we headed to a famous ashram. Like at the gates, we were like, is this worth it? Yes. There must be like 150 or more, these meditation caves. It's stunning, look at this. It is amazing. This ashram is famous for having the Beatles once composed their music here, and I can see why. Rishikesh itself is just incredibly relaxing. The bus was pretty on time actually. It was just over 13 hours to get here, which is awesome. It wasn't as comfortable as the actual sleeper lie down overnight bus we'd got in the past to Rishikesh, but this was still really nice. There was plenty of room to like lean back and whatnot. A way better bus ride than the overnight bus in Thailand I got from Koh Phangan all the way to Bangkok. That was about 18-hour journey all up, I think, but 15 hours on an overnight bus. And, you know, those seats weren't reclining. They didn't have AC, really. That was not a fun experience. So this is just, like, first class in comparison. Now that we're here, it's just gorgeous. We've booked into a really nice, cheap, basic hotel. Just in the middle of this forest, just up the hill from the main square. It's absolutely lovely. We can walk down to McLeod Ganj and see like the Tibetan museum and everything like that. Dalai Lama's residence in like 5 minutes. So it's really easy. Looking forward to doing that later. The Dalai Lama's actually in town today. If we had known like a couple of days in advance, we probably would have skipped Rishikesh, I think, just so that we could have got tickets to see one of the Dalai Lama's teachings. But it just didn't work out. So yeah, this hotel in the middle of nowhere is just like a perfect place to relax. You can barely hear the tooting from 5 minutes down the road, but the noise is certainly still carrying. But I think once you're inside at night, you're not going to hear anything. You're just going to hear birds in the morning, you know, it's going to be lovely. I see monkeys running around everywhere as well. Really interesting place. So Ingrid's leaving me tomorrow. She's actually going like 100 meters or so up the road to a silent meditation retreat for 10 days. A slightly easy mode. They're allowed to talk for about 1 hour a day, I think. But still, like, you would never find me doing that. I would crack after like 2 days. So while she does that, you know, I need to decide what I'm going to do with my plans. I'm not sure. As long as I can get back here to Dharamsala to meet up with her in about 10 days' time. You're good, you're good, you're good. Manali is known for adventure sports. Not for me though, I instead spent my days hiking and hired a scooter to explore the surrounding countryside. Wow, look at that. There's a lot of sweat there. So I've been driving about 2 hours to get to Malana. Just gorgeous around here in Parvati Valley, really. I can see why some people just come here and stay for like a week if they're traveling around Himachal Pradesh, because it's just lovely. This is by far the nicest scenery I've seen in India so far. A lot of people just stay in small towns around here, like Kasol. I heard some people even go up to a place called Tosh and do some hiking up there, which is meant to be really nice. Malana is by far the most interesting place I've ever been. The people here consider themselves descendants of Alexander the Great. Seriously, they even sacrifice lambs in order to settle disputes. And if you're not from the village, you're considered an untouchable. You can't even hand them money directly, just in case you touch their hand. That's changing now at least. I was lucky enough to shake hands with one of the younger village men there. Lastly, just check out the main crop they cultivate. It's fucking marijuana! Like, seriously! All over Malana you can find just fields of cannabis just growing in people's backyards because they harvest it, turn it into a more pure form, into a hash, like a cream, Malana cream, that's what they call it here. But, I mean, it's super cool. Like, I saw it everywhere in Nepal, but that's just growing on the side of the road, and that's low THC. This is potent stuff. If you end up buying weed here, just be warned, there's a huge police presence around the valley. While I'm sure you could stop and bribe them all, there's a lot of checkpoints, and it's just as easy to drive straight past. So after like almost 2 months probably without seeing the ocean, here I am sitting on a lovely bench just listening to the waves, and it feels so right. Honestly, like, the sea looks very dirty. You see a lot of the pollution. It's definitely not like sitting on the beach in Thailand, but goddamn, it's so nice. You see the water come up. The waves bring with it a ton of litter. You see like the color of the water, it's like a murky brown. Kerala is known for its food, so Ingrid and I signed up for a cooking course. Unfortunately, she was feeling a bit under the weather, so it ended up being just me slaving away in the kitchen. Up next was Munnar, a town nestled amongst beautiful tea plantations. amazing. Just so beautiful. Moonar was a lot of fun. After seeing how tea was grown, harvested, processed and drank, we decided to explore the rest that this town had on offer, including a final walk around its hills. So I wasn't a huge fan of Alappuzha Beach. It's right outside our hostel which we're staying at, which is awesome. But you know, there's still a lot of litter on the beach. Don't think you're going to get past that, and there's a lot of crowds. So I've come out here on a scooter. It's about maybe 5 k's south. So I'm just going to chill here for a while. Apart from like the odd fishermen here and there, I'm the only person on this beach. It's pretty nice. But people don't come to Alappuzha for the beaches. They come for the backwaters, and that's what I'm super excited about tomorrow. So it's morning. The sky's actually blue for the first time in about a week or so that I've seen it, I'd say. It's lovely. I've really enjoyed the houseboat. I'm super glad that we did it. It's kind of one of those experiences you have to do when you come to Alappuzha, or to the Kerala backwaters in general. It's just been really nice. Lazing down the river, you have your meals on board. We had lunch and a breakfast. boarded like 11:30, sailed for about 6 hours, and then we stopped for dinner, stopped to sleep, and then unfortunately I think we only had like an hour on the water this morning before we dock back in port and have to check out, as it were. It's been awesome. Really enjoyed it. The food's been great. We stopped to buy beer and tiger prawns, which was awesome. It was really nice. One of the big critiques people have about houseboats generally is that when you go down these main waterways in peak season, it's like a traffic jam, right? You're just going down a highway surrounded by boats. And I can totally see how that might be the case. We passed hundreds of empty houseboats here, and on the water it was still pretty busy, and it's low season. So during high season, I can't imagine how busy the waterways would be. Having said that, if you're here in low season, for sure do this, you know, absolutely. The other big downside about going on a houseboat around here is that you kind of miss the local way of life. You don't see people really going about their daily routine. You're restricted to the large waterways. And that's something I remember seeing pointed out by Carl Watson when I watched his India documentaries. And he's absolutely right. It's a huge downside, and I'm really hoping that we can get out this afternoon and go down some of the smaller channels. When the channels are super wide, I feel like it kind of gets really boring. The landscape is just so flat, there's nothing like remarkable to see. I remember going down the slow boat in Laos, and that was fantastic. You see so much beautiful scenery just going down the river. But here it's not like that, right? Kerala is so flat. I mean, I guess that's how the backwaters were created, you know. So all up, this experience cost us 6,000 rupees just for the private boat. You get 2 guides with that, AC from 9 PM till 8 AM. Awesome food, 3 meals, coffee, tea, all of that's included. We had to pay extra for the beer and for the tiger prawns, but that's okay. It's again one of the things you do when you come here. All in all, I think it was pretty well worth it, I'd say. I don't want to like pet his head, but I really want to pet his head. We only had a couple of days left, so we decided to spend the rest of that time in Varkala. And with that, 3 months have come to an end. It went by in a flash. I've already talked about my time in Thailand, Laos, Nepal. So I just want to briefly talk about India, my trip there. I've been home for quite some time because I wasn't sure how to exactly phrase this, but I think it's just best to be honest about my experience, you know? It was mixed. I did not have the best time in India, but at the same time I loved India. And not for the reasons I thought as well. I thought going in, you know, I'd love it. I'd have issues with like the pollution, the noise, the litter. I would get Delhi belly. I wasn't sick at all in my trip in India. But none of that ended up bothering me. I had no issue with any of that. I hated how much harassment there was towards my friends traveling with me. Like, I know that female travelers to India often have a tough time, but I did not realize how constant and the extent of the harassment is. But there is a workaround, right? If you are a woman, you're worried about your safety heading to this country, whether you're traveling solo or with a companion, I think tour companies are a really good option for you. Companies like Intrepid and G Adventures, they all offer a ton of different trips heading through India. So I think you can definitely find one that works for you. You don't need to worry about safety as much, right? Because you're surrounded by a ton of people. The tour is streamlined. You're just not gonna hit as much harassment than if you traveled alone and made your way through that country by yourself. So I think it's a really good option because India is a kick-ass country. I loved my time there. The only downside was that harassment. It's so culturally diverse just due to its sheer size. The style of life and the cuisine is so different if you just compare one province to another. I know I'll be back. I'll be heading to Rajasthan, hopefully when it's a bit cooler, and I want to head to northeastern India where it seems like a lot of travellers don't end up going, but that part of the country looks really incredible. In terms of my favourite part of India, it's really hard. We ended up seeing quite a bit of the country. But I'd say North India, up in Himachal Pradesh, has gorgeous scenery. If I had more time, I'd probably head further north to Jammu and Kashmir. Otherwise in the south, I loved Kerala. It is incredibly flat, so you do lose that scenery in the north, apart from maybe Munnar with the tea plantations and the hills. But the food is incredible and the people just seem nicer and more relaxed. It is a much calmer experience, like on the streets and just getting around. It is lovely. Lastly, I just want to say thanks for watching. It's been a real experience for me, not just traveling around, which was awesome, but learning to film and edit somewhat semi-professionally, right? So much more work than I expected, but incredibly rewarding. Part of the reason I decided to start filming these trips is because normal photos just weren't doing it for me anymore. I found it difficult to share my experience with friends and people around me. So looking back at what I've edited so far, I think video is really capturing what I want it to, which is great. And allows me to share that experience more easily with the people around me, and you guys as well. So because of that, I'm going to be making more of these in the future. If you've enjoyed the content, stick around because there's a lot more to come. Thanks for watching.